This video provides commentary and analysis on public legal filings and statements from representatives. All parties are presumed innocent until proven otherwise. This content is intended for educational and informational purposes under fair use.
Because of that, because no one is noticing her and she's not able to notice anyone else because everybody is so closed off in their little eggs.
That Stephanie had to prove the content was defamatory, but what was posted actually fell under First Amendment protections. This is a larger issue right now, especially when it comes to individuals with significant influence, who many feel are shaping public narratives in misleading ways. People like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are often mentioned in this context. And just yesterday in court, we saw a version of this narrative play out again. When I said before that the era of intimidation is ending, I meant it. Some viewers accused my last video of being misleading or clickbait, but from where I stand and from what I gather, most creators involved in this situation would agree that there has been a very real sense of threat hanging over independent voices. Some of us have received cease and desist letters, others have been served subpoenas, and a few have been publicly defamed. Take Shasti, for example. She was ridiculed widely, yet she was never even subpoenaed. Still, the public damage was done, but now with the court ruling that all subpoena documentation must be turned in by July 25th, it represents a shift going forward. No more subpoenas can be issued. That is a huge relief for smaller creators who were previously at risk of getting dragged into this legal mess. If someone like Perez has not yet...
Well, while the legal battle between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively heats up, the Gossip Girl actress has begun to share the toll it's having on her personal life.
Yeah, in an amended complaint to the New York court on Tuesday, Lively described how her children's lives have been emotionally uprooted by the saga. She confessed she struggles to get out of bed some mornings.
Permission to file a new motion. Her attorneys also attached a massive 300-page document filled with allegations, including a new set of claims against Brian Friedman. This document was prepared by a lawyer representing a former assistant who worked just 9 days for Vin Diesel in 2010. That assistant is now suing Diesel under a newly enacted law backed by Gavin Newsom that extends the statute of limitations on certain types of claims. But even with that change, the assistant still missed the window to file employment-related claims with the California Civil Rights Department, and those were dismissed. What remains are personal and SA claims, which Diesel and his team have denied. They also point out that Diesel was not even in California at the time the alleged incident occurred. His manager and sister have publicly confirmed that timeline again. I am not here to debate the details of that lawsuit, because it is only relevant in the sense that Blake's legal team referenced it in their own court filings, using it to paint a misleading picture of events involving Brian Friedman. Their motion was essentially a second attempt to file something that had already been submitted. They argued urgency but provided no real proof of imminent or irreversible harm, and in response, Brian Friedman's legal team pushed back hard. They issued a legal response immediately, and within the first paragraph they made it crystal clear that the plaintiff's actions were an insult to the court and were designed only to falsely accuse and discredit the defense. Their argument stated that the filing should be swiftly denied on multiple legal grounds, and in the end the court agreed. The accusations were not just wrong but potentially actionable, meaning they could be the basis for legal counteraction. The court refused to accept the plaintiff's claims and instead emphasized that their motion appeared retaliatory rather than grounded in genuine legal need. Now here's where it gets really important. On July 3rd, the court issued a notice confirming that a resolution had already been reached regarding the deposition dispute between the parties, including any concerns about misconduct or sanctions. And guess what? The judge did not find any of the claims credible. No money was awarded. No disciplinary action was taken. The matter was resolved through a civil agreement. Now ask yourself this: if something dangerous had actually occurred, do you think it would have ended in a negotiated settlement? Would it not have been escalated possibly to law enforcement? Instead, the official court order simply rescheduled the trial from August 18th to February 2nd, 2026. The status conference was moved from August 8th to January 23rd, and all related deadlines, including those for discovery and mediation, were realigned to match the new trial schedule. The court mandated that the parties engage in alternative dispute resolution, such as mediation, by November 7th and provide an update by that same date. Also worth noting is that the motion to compel a deposition scheduled for August 11th was removed from the calendar, so was the motion for a protective order scheduled for December 11th. The only reason that happens is when both motions are either resolved or rendered unnecessary. The deposition of Vin Diesel will now take place on September 3rd, at the office of his legal team, and it will not exceed 7 hours in length. This is important because the plaintiff originally requested an unlimited today deposition. Something the court does not allow. A non-party deposition is also scheduled for September 12th, and both sides are coordinating to reschedule other depositions involving non-party witnesses. Additionally, the plaintiff agreed to allow the defense to receive documents from the Walt Disney Company through subpoena, and all documents will be shared with the defense team by removing these hearings from the court calendar. The court confirmed that all claims made in that 300-page document had been denied or dismissed. The judge was not moved by what was presented and took no action against Brian Friedman or his team. Yet even after all this, Blake's legal team continued acting as if the matter was unresolved. In reality, the judge had already addressed it and found no misconduct. Instead, the court granted Brian Friedman's request to conduct the deposition of Vin Diesel at his own legal office, which was seen as a security measure. Ironically, this is similar to what Blake Lively is now requesting in her own proceedings. If both sides agree, the court can allow these accommodations. The concern here is that Blake's team seemed more focused on character attacks than on actual legal resolution. The 300-page document they submitted was designed not to resolve, but to smear Brian Friedman. It misrepresented facts, ignored court findings, and tried to present a narrative the court had already rejected. This is where things take a disturbing turn. The attorneys representing Blake and Ryan Reynolds are from law firms known for crisis management, not necessarily for sexual harassment law. They have experience defending clients in the public eye, managing scandals, and shaping media narratives. One of the firms involved even represented election workers falsely accused by Rudy Giuliani. In that case, they won a significant judgment, so significant that Giuliani filed for bankruptcy. But now those same lawyers are being used to go after smaller creators and public commentators. It feels like a complete reversal of their past values, and this shift is hard to ignore. Marielle, one of the lead attorneys in the early stages of the
It's the elephant in the room. You know, everyone is seeing Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds sitting there, and they can't focus on anything else going on in SNL. They're like, just talk to him, acknowledge this, please, because we're all thinking it. So it's kind of getting it out of the way. I didn't think it was that big a deal. He didn't say anything all that scandalous, but people are flipping out over this. I'd say put it in perspective.
for equally powerful clients, and that includes both legal weight and financial clout. Justin is not just facing off against Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds. He is up against a massive legal infrastructure that is capable of burying smaller teams in motions, deadlines, and resource-driven pressure. And yet, despite that, Justin continues to present himself publicly in a far more sympathetic and credible light than Blake. As for Brian Friedman, his reputation is well known. He is an aggressive litigator and is supported by a strong team including Ellen Goff, Jason Sunshine Mitchell Schuster, and Kevin Fritz, all of whom have experience in high-stakes litigation including sports law and entertainment. Their firm has the infrastructure to provide the same security accommodations Blake is requesting. So, if her legal team really wanted to protect her, they have options. They could hold the deposition at Mitchell Schuster's office, just like Brian's team arranged for Vin Diesel. But they are not doing that. Instead, they are pursuing strategies that seem to be more about optics and less about substance. When Blake's team filed that massive document, trying to paint Brian as dangerous, the judge did not buy it. The court ignored it and denied the motion, yet her legal team continued pushing the narrative as if the issue was unresolved. Even though the court had spoken clearly, the motion was denied. The accusations were not supported by evidence and no disciplinary action was taken. The matter was over. The fact that they kept acting like something sinister was still in play reeks of desperation. It is clear that this move was less about the merits of the case and more about attacking the character of opposing counsel. And when legal professionals engage in this kind of behavior, it becomes concerning, because these are individuals being paid to attack the integrity of others rather than focus on actual legal disputes. They misrepresented facts to the court, tried to paint Brian Friedman in a negative light, and did so even after the court had dismissed their claims. This was not a mistake. It was a strategy, and it failed. An allegation is not proof, and the court treated it accordingly. No sanctions, no reprimands, no ethical violations acknowledged. Nothing. The motion was simply denied, and it is important to state again that legal motions cannot be filed without client approval. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are not unaware of what is being submitted on their behalf. Their names are on these documents. Their legal teams act under their direction if something aggressive is filed. If a motion includes attacks or misleading claims, it is because the clients approved it. The attorneys are not acting independently. They are being paid to execute a strategy, and this particular strategy appears to be centered on discrediting Justin Belden and his legal team, and despite repeated attempts to frame Brian Friedman as dangerous, the court found no credibility in those claims. If anything, it reflects poorly on the legal team submitting these motions. As for Kristen Bender, her job is not to litigate misconduct cases, her job is to manage reputational damage. She is clearly skilled at what she does, but that role speaks volumes about the approach Blake's legal team is taking. They are not focused solely on winning in court. They are trying to win in the court of public opinion, and in doing so, they submitted documents to the court that were ultimately rejected by the judge, and even then they tried to frame the outcome as if the issue was still active, when it was not. This approach misleads the public, creates unnecessary confusion, and damages reputations for no legal benefit. In the end, the truth remains clear. The judge did not take their claims seriously. The deposition matter was resolved, the trial was rescheduled, and both parties were ordered to engage in mediation. That is what is actually happening in court, not what is being suggested by the public narrative crafted by Blake's attorneys. More updates will follow as the case continues. Like, share, and subscribe to stay informed and support independent coverage of this story.